record. ॐ सदाशिवसमारम्भाम् शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्ताम् वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यङ्करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। Some of you would have heard that this mantra, right? Sahana Bhavatu. How many of you have heard the mantra? Okay, so almost all of you. It's popular in our tradition here because of what it means. It's a mantra. Mantra, the definition of a mantra is anything taken from the Veda is called a mantra. Any couplet, any sentence taken from even a sentence. It doesn't have to be in poetic form, verse form, even a sentence from a prose text. Veda has prose, mostly prose, but also in verse form. Okay. So both are called mantras. So this is one such mantra. And it's very meaningful. I'll tell you quickly what the meaning is so you understand what it is. Om Sahana Bhavatu. The word Om also has a significant meaning. I'll come to that another time. Sahana Bhavatu. Avatu means protect. Protect. May you protect. That is the meaning of Avatu. Avatu. Okay. Who should protect whom? Saha. Saha means may he protect. May he protect means may the all-knowing. In our culture, Ishvara, Bhagavan, Parameshvara, Paramatma, we have many words for that. So may Paramatma protect. Whom should Paramatma protect? Saha now avatu. That's the way to split. In Sanskrit, these words, when they join, what they happen is, when they see each other, they shake hands, like we shake hands, they shake hands. Words shake hands. And then their form changes. Na, now avatu becomes na avatu. It's that's how Sanskrit works. So anyway, now means what? Both of us. May he protect both of us. Okay. Now, who are the both of us? Don't say husband, wife, and all that. Both of us here means teacher and student. That's it. May he protect both of us, both the teacher, within brackets, both teacher and the student. All right. Sahana Bhavat. Next. Sahanau Bhunaktu. Veda mantras have swaras. Swara means like, it's what do you call intonations? I don't know how to say it in English. Swaras. Like in music. Uh, Indian classical music has 7 swaras. Sapta swara they call it, right? So here in Vedas, there are only 3 swaras. So because there are only 3 swaras, anybody can chant. Music, learning 7 swaras is even more difficult. Only a few people can master that. So anyway, Sahana Vavatu, Sahanau Bhunaktu. Same thing. Sahanau Bhunaktu. Avatu means protect me. Bhunaktu means what? Nourish. Nourish me. Nourish me means what? The popular meaning out there is may we get physical nourishment, like nutritious food, etc. But that's not the meaning here. Here the meaning is May he nourish me, my mind, with all the qualities needed for me to grasp the subject that is going to be taught. Every subject that is going to be taught has some prerequisites, correct? Prerequisites. If I want to do a master's in a particular in psychology, I must have bachelor's minimum. Bachelor's in some subject, bachelor's in psychology preferable, right? But in some cases, there are individuals who have a psychological bent of mind, and they can have a BS in any language. A BA they can have, but they can do a master's in psychology if that person is assessed to have that psychological bent of mind. Correct. So that person has qualifications, even though the degree may not say so. Okay. So may he give me all the required qualifications. What might be those qualifications? Well, when we say that happiness is not a property, we discussed this earlier. Happiness is not a property of a person. Happiness is not a property of an object. Happiness is not a property of any particular place. Happiness is not a property of any particular situation. If we say that, it shouldn't be great news to us. Correct? It should say, yeah, correct. If happiness were the property of a place, then all of us, there'll be a beeline to that place. We don't see such a place. People are sad, unhappy in all places. So it should be not difficult to follow. How come it's not difficult to follow? Because we have that qualification. We've already gone through life, we made the assessments, we thought through this idea of fulfillment, and we know the importance of dharma. And so we are primed for the next teaching, as we call it here in India. All right. Plus, whatever, we'll talk about that also. What are all the qualifications? It's very well laid out. But still, may he nourish us. Plus, during this session, right, we have all kinds of problems in our body, right? Arthritis pain is there, lower back pain is there, and attention span. Okay, the problem, no, after 15 minutes, my body is demanding coffee, tea, and then, what next? A news, what happened? Oh, I didn't see the news today. So class is going on, but I'm thinking of news, ABC news, correct? This is called, so mind is not paying attention. So everything. May he nourish us means, may he give me all the faculties. May my faculties that are needed work properly during this session. Also after the session, but at least during the session. All right. Saha now bhunattu. Saha viryam karavavahai. Again, may he, saha karavavahai. May he make viryam. Viryam means may he continue to give me the interest in this subject matter. Because the interest must sustain. I'm all very excited. I signed up for the course, but no guarantee if my interest will be sustained. Lack of interest could be due to hundreds of reasons. Oh, this is not what I thought it was. Yeah, because what do you do in a course announcement? You write a few sentences and people sign up thinking this is what they want, but they come here and say, no, 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 this is not what I was thinking it was. Okay, that could be a reason, or it could be that I'm not ready for something like this, and so I'm not interested. Yeah, that's good. Nice to know there is something called fulfillment. I'll come back later. Thank you, but no thank you, or something they say. Okay, so many reasons are there. So Viryam Karavava. Hey, I must have that interest. Only then what's being said. Other reasons for lack of interest could be the guy who's delivering these words may not make the impact because every subject needs a good teacher, even the basic sciences and things like that. For the student to maintain interest in the subject, the teacher has to have the capacity to hold the student's attention, correct? And that's a skill. Just because a person is an expert in chemistry or physics or geography or whatever, it doesn't mean they can communicate. The ability to communicate is a skill that people have to develop. Just the expertise in subject matter and ability to communicate are two different things, correct? Two different things. Yeah. So there could be many reasons for lack of interest. But still, may I continue to have the interest? Because both factors may not really be good, but then may I have the interest because the subject matter is so important for me, for my own personal life. It's very important. All right. Saha Viryam Karavava. Then Tejasvi Nama Jitam Astu. Again, Astu, again a request. Astu, may it be. May what be? Adhitam. Adhitam means that which we are studying. May our study, may our study be, may our study be what? Tejasvi. All of you have heard the word Tejasvi. Tejas, Tejasvi. We have names called Tejas, Tejasvi. May our study be brilliant. Who did not want to do well in their school or college in any course? Who did not want to do well? Even the guy who's not doing well wants to do well. Even the guy or gal who's doing well wants to do better because there's always healthy competition between people. So I want to do better. Oh, I got 90. Next time I want to beat you and I want to get 95. Oh, whatever, some healthy competition. We used to have that competition. Okay, so I mean, there is also unhealthy competition. That's why I use the word healthy competition, right? And so, Tejasvi, let our study be brilliant. Why? Because why should the study not be brilliant? Knowledge is meant for us, for the human mind only. Knowledge is not meant for animals. Animals don't need any of what we're talking about. They don't need physics, they don't need chemistry, they don't need geography, they don't need any of the subjects we've studied before. Nothing. They seem to be leading their life just happily. We are the ones who are studying, and then afterwards, what should I do? What bachelor's? Then what should I do? Job? Where should I get a job? All these questions. Therefore, I must be prepared for all that. All right. Tejasvi Navadhitamastu, especially this topic, since this is talking about fundamental realities. This is talking about fulfillment, which I thought I was leading my life trying to get myself fulfilled, all right. But still, after so many years, I still don't feel fulfilled. That means what? Have I been doing things wrong? Have I been climbing the wrong tree? I'm forgetting some of these phrases that I learned in America. I think barking up the wrong tree. I think that's what they say, right? Barking up the wrong tree. Have I been barking? Is it called barking? I think it's called barking. Yeah, right. Barking up the wrong tree. All that I need to know. So this is a crucial inquiry, and so therefore, Tejasvi Navadhitamastu. I must be crystal clear when I come out of these series of talks from Guruji, whoever. When we say this, typically sannyasis are talking or very learned people are talking. Therefore, they have something to offer. And so let me absorb everything they say. Give me that capacity. All right. Tejasvi Navadhitamastu. Ma Vidvishavahai. Another beautiful thing. The capacity to absorb what the speaker says, what the teacher says, okay, is also a function of the relationship I have with the other person. Suppose my attitude is one of respect. Respect. Yeah, he or she knows. And so I, I, my attitude is such that, yeah, please, I'm ready to learn what you have to say. And I respect you. And of course, the teacher also respects the students. Suppose it's one way. The teacher begins to judge students, make some passing remarks, and periodically say things that what it can do is it can vitiate that trust and that respect, that attitude that students have. Correct? It's possible. And so the teacher has to be respectful of the students. Students have to be respectful of the teacher. And so that idea is expressed in this phrase, Ma vid bishavai. May we not unnecessarily say things can that can weaken this relationship. Weaken. Okay, that's enough. I think you can extrapolate. So anything can happen. The teacher can, in India, the classes that we used to attend in the school and all, teachers used to be harsh. We used to be afraid of our teachers. And I don't know how. I mean, in America and all, I don't think in Canada, it's not like that. But we used to be afraid. Any one wrong word, and we used to get beaten up. And so that's how the culture was. These days, they say teachers can't afford to beat children and all that. They say that. So I think that must be true. It's true all over the world also. So that kind of the students must be eager to learn when they come to school. Correct? Eager to learn, and the teachers must be eager to teach. And the teacher must challenge himself, herself to say, even if there is a student that is finding it difficult to grasp the subject, it is the responsibility of the teacher to find out what is the problem with this child or student. Correct? Teacher should take it up as a challenge as opposed to blaming the child for all those things. That's the greatest. That's why there are many teachers who get awards for being who they are. Anyway, this is the meaning of this mantra, Sahana Bhavatu, which we chant before in the beginning of every session. Every class, our Bhagavad Gita classes begin with this mantra. Now, in the north, there is a practice where they chant this mantra before having a meal. How many of you heard this before having a meal? Yeah, in some temples and all, they chant. Some ashrams before having a meal, they will chant. It's not to be chanted before having a meal because of what I just said. That's the meaning, and so it's meant two of us means teacher student is there. So that's the setting here, and so it's not appropriate to be chanted before a meal. Anyway, that's just by the way. All right. So what we'll do today is again I'll recap quickly some major points that we learned, and then I'll introduce a topic, and then we'll also discuss some questions that have been cataloged by Premaji, posted by all of you. Okay. Okay. First point we already mentioned: happiness is not a property of a person, object, place, or a situation. Okay. This is the number one takeaway. If at all we forgot everything in the past so many sessions, if we can take this away and if we can convince ourselves that this is true, then I think we are ready for the next the journey that's coming up. Okay, and so all these that means what? That means all the ecstatic experiences that are out there. Okay, drugs and so on and so forth, sexual experiences. They're all experiences. They're all experiences which are all temporary, highly temporary. Nobody can deny the experience. Nobody can deny. That's the way it is. Those experiences are there, but they are not. They are not the property of that object. It is a manifestation of the same joy. It is evidence for me that that joy is actually the source of the joy is me. That's the good news I get from those experiences. From every joyful experience, that's the message I get. Because we just said happiness is not a property of A, B, C, D. Okay. That means where is the happiness coming from? It's got to be from somewhere, and that somewhere is me, which is what we're going to study further now. So now what happens? Instead of becoming an experienced hunter, I'm constantly hunting for some experience or the other, right? Constantly hunting for some experience. I have essentially become an experienced hunter. Now I'm going to become an experienced inquirer, and I'm going to come to what is called self inquiry. This is the journey, correct? And we also saw. So this experience is like the sun is rising. The sun rises in the east. Sun rises in the east. Correct? Is that a correct statement? Sun rises in the east. It is correct. Sun rises in the east. How many of you say it's correct? Does anybody have any reservations about that statement? No reservations? Okay. I have some reservations. Physics says that sun does not even move. It is the earth that is revolving around the sun. It is the earth that is rotating. All movement happens on earth. No movement happens on sun. So how can sun rise in the east? How can sun even rise? Friends, this is the dilemma. This is the dilemma. We have taken that to be a literally true statement. Sun rises in the east. It is a perception for all of us, anywhere in the world, that the sun rises in the eastern horizon. Okay, for you, east maybe like eastern horizon. Okay, of course, even there's a problem because you ask the guy in the Arctic North Pole, he won't agree with your statement. For the people in the Arctic, it is 6 months of daylight and then 6 months of darkness. Can you ever imagine this? We don't. Canada, at least they can appreciate it because there are. I once went to what is it? Vancouver, I think. Calgary. Once went to Calgary, and it was for a conference. I mean, I was working in Chicago, and I went to Calgary for a conference. University, I think it's University of Calgary. It's been so long. And then we all met, professors were all there. We talked, we spoke we were just talking about it. Then we said, let's go have dinner. And we looked at the watch. It was 10 p.m. 10 p.m. It was bright out there. And it was 10 p.m. I was kind of shocked and to tell myself, yeah, this is how things work, I think. Maybe I've come north, a bit too north. And so it's 10 p.m. You go further north to the Arctic Ocean, or rather to the North Pole, you know what they will say? It's all day. There is no sunrise at all. The sun is just going down slightly and then coming up, going down slightly and coming up. The sun is always visible. So, what do you mean by sun rises in the east? It's not even an absolute statement. First of all, the sun doesn't rise at all. Second of all, there are different people in different parts of the world have different experiences. They don't agree with the same statement. But we have taken this statement as some kind of a truism, correct? We teach this to our children. It's not a truism. It is just an experience you have. That sun rises in the east. It's an experience. Experience of sun rising in the east can be there, but experience should only be a starting point for inquiry, my dear friends. That is why all the people who studied the planetary motion have come up with this truth that even though your experience is sun rising in the east, the truth is the sun neither rises nor sets. What a truth it is. Sun neither rises nor sets, but my experience is sun rises in rises in the east and sets in the west. Our human experience is exactly like that. I have the experience of joy and sorrow, and I attribute joyful experience to certain things and people and situations. I attribute sorrowful experience to certain people and objects and situations. While our Shastram, now I'm going to bring in the word Shastram. Shastram means my scripture says, your scripture also says, there is really no such object or person. How are we going to deal with this? This is where we are heading. This is where we are heading. Okay. So it's still a recap. Still a recap. Maybe I did not give you this example of sun rising. Okay. So think about it. Think about it. Something to chew on. All right. We also saw that we do whatever we do is for the sake of the pleased self. For the sake of the pleased self means whatever act I do, even though it could be an outgoing, even though it could be an outreach, an act of outreach, even though it could be a life-saving act, somebody's life got saved because of my intervention, and I feel happy about it. I feel happy. Finally, the finger points to me. We saw this also, correct? Even if I am ready to sacrifice my life for my children, that is for my sake only. That act of sacrifice makes me happy. It may make the other person happy, that's fine, but finally it makes me happy. All right. So we looked at all these things. This is only a recap. Okay. And another point which I may or may not have mentioned is I can be happy. Okay, let me put it this way. Suppose you hear a slapstick joke. Okay. We say that I can't be happy unless my desires are fulfilled. Correct. That's a common knowledge. My desires have to be fulfilled. At least my top desires, I have some few, three or four very big things which are not negotiable at all. They have to be fulfilled in order for me to be happy. All right, let it be. In the night, you come back from work and you turn on late night TV. And then why? Because I want to relax. I've had a long day. And then you're listening to somebody there. I don't know who these latest people are. Those days, David Letterman and Johnny Carson were long ago, 40, 50 years ago in the US. These days, I have no idea. But late night, and you're laughing away, happy. Suppose I ask you, are you happy? Yes, I'm very happy. How come you're very happy? I thought you said I've got these four, five things, desires unfulfilled, and I can't be happy without fulfilling those desires. How did you become happy? Did your desires get fulfilled by watching this David Letterman show? Yeah. That means what? Even without fulfilling any desire, I can still be happy. This is a very important data point, friends. We have to write it down. Write it down and paste it on the wall periodically. Look at it. Hey, I don't have to satisfy all my desires in order to be happy. The West does not tell us. The West tells us you have to fulfill all your desires. Otherwise, you're no good. They'll remind you constantly. Every advertisement reminds you that you are no good. You have dandruff on your head. You're no good. You have sweat on your body. You're no good. You have to apply this cream and that spray and this spray. You're no good. Constantly, the ads are telling us we are no good. And so, the Shastram is saying exactly the opposite. You're not no good. You are the only thing good in this universe. That's where we are heading. That's where we are heading. Okay. Okay. One more point. We are not seeking for the sake of seeking. We are seeking for our own fulfillment. That's probably simpler to understand. We're not seeking for the sake of seeking. We're seeking for our own sake. We want to be fulfilled, so I want certain things out of life, etc. That means at the end of that fulfillment, my seeking drops. No more seeking after that. Then another desire comes, and which I have to fulfill. And then that desire is fulfilled. Then another desire comes. So we saw that raga. I want, I want, I want. Constantly there, I want. Shastram says, hey, you are the embodiment of fulfillment. How can I be the embodiment of fulfillment and be sad? That must be the next question, correct, from you. If I am the embodiment of fulfillment, then why am I sad? Why can I be sad? How can I be sad? Yeah, good. That question we have to ask. And it is the responsibility of the Shastram. I'm going to start using that word more and more to answer that question. Okay. All right. We saw that. And so we said, I used to say that our idea of fulfillment is not some relative fulfillment. Give me some tips so that I can manage my emotions better. Okay, that's useful to have, no doubt. Such things are good, such tips are good, and many motivational speakers give some good tips. There are good books on psychology. For example, How to Be an Adult by David Richo. I purchased this book some 30 years ago. David Richo, Richo, How to Be an Adult. It's a small book, but I tell you, each sentence he writes is worthy of contemplation. Each sentence, each paragraph is just loaded, understandable but loaded, and it takes a while to just soak it in. Okay, so there are so many books like that. I mean, these days there's no shortage of books. Okay, but we're not talking about that kind of relative fulfillment, that kind of emotional maturity. Emotionally, I can say, how can I say I'm in one piece and I am in control of myself. I can handle ups and downs quite well. I'm ready for any eventuality. Okay, that's emotional maturity, correct? That's not what we are talking about. That's important. That's a prerequisite. That's a prerequisite for what we are going to talk about next, which is what? You are the source of joy. You are not a recipient of joy, my dear friend. You are the source of joy. You're not a beggar of joy. You are the giver of joy. That's where we're going, right? So that's why I gave that example of that young man who came from Vietnam and he challenged us. I want to lead a fulfilling life. Please help me lead one. How are we going to answer that question? We can't tell him you should have a two-story bungalow and you must have this much money, that much money, and this and that. No possibility. This guy has no such possibility. So the answer we give has to be applicable to every human being. So this is the essence of what we talked about, and it's worth repeating. And because we have never thought about these things before, and so our Shastram also repeats it. We'll be surprised. We have many texts, many Upanishads, Bhagavad Gita, 18 chapters in Bhagavad Gita, and you'll find that some of the ideas are repeated. And that's because in this particular topic, because everything is counterintuitive, correct? Counterintuitive. Okay. I'm a receiver of joy versus I'm a giver of joy. Counterintuitive. Very counterintuitive. And therefore, periodic repetition, listening to the same thing, same message again reinforces it in our minds. Anyway, so these are some of the axioms by which we can appreciate, on which we are going to develop the rest of the ideas. Okay. But still, periodically, we need to know how to manage situations. This journey being there, still we need to. We're not gods. There are a lot of things we don't know, and so there will be situations where I don't know how to deal with a particular situation. How do I deal with it? What's the right thing to do? We may not know, so we have to seek others' help, etc. in the process. All that is going to go on. I'm confused about this. I'm frustrated about that. So I need some help. That's perfect. That's perfect. That's a constant thing. So therefore, The fundamental problem that's in front of us is what? I want permanent fulfillment. And permanent fulfillment is not going to be achieved by an experience. Underline that sentence. Permanent fulfillment cannot be an experience, because what is the definition of an experience? An experience is that which begins. An experience is that which I don't have now, but which is going to begin sometime later. And guess what? Is going to end also. What begins has to come to an end. And therefore, I can say, oh, that was a great experience. What was that? All of you should go to Colorado. It's a great experience. I've never been to Colorado, but it's a great experience. That means what? You have to go to a particular place and then you have to enjoy that, whatever it offers to you, and then soak it all in. And then you have some experience should happen here. And then after some time, what do? You can't be in Colorado forever, you know. You have to come back home. So experience began, experience ends. This permanent fulfillment I'm seeking cannot be in that category. If it were in that category of experience, then it will come to an end. It may be there, but fulfillment, joyful experience will have to come to an end. That is the nature of experience. But experience is easy to get. That is why people get hooked on to all the sensual titillations, experiences. And they think that is the be all, end all. Shastram says it's the opposite. The more you go after things, the less you are going to have permanent fulfillment. You can get all this instant gratification. Instant gratification. But instant gratification and permanent fulfillment are opposites, polar opposites. Correct? So, therefore, we have to, okay, it's about 40 minutes. We've been talking for about 40 minutes. And what we should do is, I'll just mention what we after next. We are going to first ask the question, who is the person who wants permanent fulfillment? I want permanent fulfillment. Okay, fine. Who is that I? Who is that I? Is it the body that wants permanent fulfillment? Is it the mind that wants permanent fulfillment? This is $1 million question, friends. This is the, if I can use the phrase, holy grail of Indian scripture. Holy grail. It may be the holy grail of other scriptures also. I'm not denying that. But the whole uniqueness of India rests in answering this question correctly. Many answers are there to this question. We call them as many philosophies. But if you hit the jackpot, if you get the answer right, then it becomes a jackpot. Okay? Yeah, question, Anand Sood.
So I would say that fulfillment, it's more mental. Physical fulfillment will only be temporary at best. So I guess the mind controls everything. So therefore, if your mind is calm or shant, then you're fulfilled, I guess.
Okay, okay. Yeah, go ahead, Neelam.
I think the mind is still very fickle. Our experience is not going to be everlasting if we depend upon the mind. I think what we are seeking is at the soul level, the enrichment of the soul. The body is very temporary, the mind is fickle, but the soul is the one that is permanent. Whether we experience the soul in our daily lives or not, it is the soul that feels the fulfillment, the lasting fulfillment.
Okay. So you can see now that there are two views or more views also possibly. Mind is the thing, because mind is the one that experiences, and therefore it has everything to do with the mind. The other view is no, mind also is no different than the body from that perspective, and mind also is fickle, and mind has its own ways. I can't depend on the mind. I can't depend on the mind for my fulfillment. Look at the opposing view. We should entertain all these views. Because mind, if mind were under mind, is mind in our control?
Whose control are we talking about? Who is the one which is controlling the mind?
Okay, is there somebody who's controlling the mind? Let's ask all those questions. Is there somebody who's controlling the mind? Is there somebody? Let's ask the question first. And based on the answer, we can take it forward.
I think the mind is a part of you, and you're not necessarily controlling it, and it is not necessarily controlling you. I think your physical reactions have a lot to do with your mental instances, thoughts, whatever.
Okay. What about Neelamji? Is there somebody other than the mind? Is there something other than the mind? See, when
There
it comes
has to be somebody other than the mind, because mind is not the ultimate. Something has to control the mind. What is it? Whether it's our thoughts, but is that part of our mind? What is it? Is it our chit? So I think we really have to delve deeper than the mind.
Good. So this is exactly the kind of discussion that we have to formalize. Okay? We've never thought about it before, but we have to. Now the time has come to talk about these. Okay. So let me just. I'm debating whether to. If I need 15 minutes, 20 minutes to talk about this, just to bring in the body, the sense organs, and the mind. But I also want to have some time for questions. So the questions can take 20 minutes, 30 minutes. So what we'll do is we'll pause here now. We will say, okay, today what we got from this 15 minutes, 20 minutes, 30 minutes is that seeking seeking an experience of joy is going to be a never-ending search. Never-ending search, because experiences will come and go, come and go, come and go. I have to constantly get something, and then I get it, and then it goes. I get it, and then it goes. This is going to be an unending cycle. And our Shastram says there is another birth also, and then after that there is another birth also. So therefore, not only it's an unending process in this life, but this process is going to continue after this life also. We'll talk about all that later. There's a very beautiful. We can bring everything to a finale. Okay. So therefore, we are saying that kind of a search for joyful experience is not ultimate fulfillment. Ultimate fulfillment has to be something like recognizing that the sun really doesn't rise at all. Okay. The sun really, the stationary sun. I am projecting a movement on the stationary sun. Likewise, am I projecting sorrow on the most joyful self? I'm asking a question. Is it possible that I might be projecting limitation? I might be projecting deficiency. I might be projecting sorrow on a self that is completely fulfilled. Like the guy who was searching for his glasses, correct? Did I give this example of searching for glasses in this class? Did I do that? No, yes, no, no. So many of you are saying no. All right. Okay, in that case, I have to give this example. Give me a minute. Okay. So, reading the newspaper. Those days, the newspaper man used to come, drop the newspaper, at home. Today, they do that even here. And of course, in the US also, they used to do it. I'm sure that practice is still there for those people who like to have a piece of paper in front of them. That habit dies hard for some people. And so, guy, 6:30 in the morning, he reads the newspaper. He's reading the newspaper, then somebody knocks on the door. Somebody knocks on the door, so he goes, opens the door. And in India, that's very common. The newspaper man comes, then the milk person delivers milk, and like this, then the maid comes, and then somebody else, then a little later, the postman will come. It's an unending stream of visitors constantly happening. You can't say, I have no privacy. You can't say all that stuff. This is how life is here in India. You have to get your own privacy somehow. So this guy goes, opens the door because it's a knock on the door. Okay, somebody came, milkman came, thank you, and then he goes inside. Then he comes back and picks up the newspaper. And then he says, no, I can't read. Where are my glasses? Where are my glasses? Where are my glasses? Okay, I can't read without my glasses. And so he's looking around, he's not here. Oh, I think we left it in the kitchen. So he goes to the kitchen, doesn't find it. And then he gets anxious. By then he's anxious already. And anxious people, the more anxious we get, the more difficult the problem solving becomes, right? that's irony. Then he looks at the living room, nothing is not there, and then his search goes on. Search goes on. Search for what? The search for the eyeglasses goes on until the people, there is other people at home. And this guy is screaming by then, where are my glasses? Did any of you take my glasses? Why should somebody else take this guy's glasses? Is it of any use? Is other class any useful to another person at all? Not at all useful. But this guy acts as though he's like, somebody has taken my glasses. Okay. And then the people at home, they come out and they realize the problem immediately. They realize the problem immediately. And then you know what they say? You know why they say that? Because this arrogant guy who's screaming at us all day long, now we got him. Let's have a little fun while we can have fun. So they say, oh, really? You lost your glasses? What were you doing? No, I was reading the newspaper. And then, see, I took the milkman came and so there is milk. So where is it? I mean, you said you were reading. Where is it? If you ask us, what can we do about it? No, I thought some of you took my glasses. Why should we take your glasses? Did you check the restroom? Did you check the bedroom? Go to the bedroom. No, it's not there. It's not there. Not there. Not there. Now, by he's now frantic. Anxiety has become frantic. Then the game continues, and the mother is looking at the son is looking at the doctor, the daughter, they're winking at each other. They're having a lot of fun. This kind of fun they've never had before. This kind of game they've never played before. Let's enjoy. Let's see how long this lasts. And everybody is saying, yeah, let me help you, Dad. And then, no, Dad, it's not here. It's not in that room, etc. They're playing this game. Finally, Dad, did you check the restroom? No, I didn't check the restroom. Why would it be in the restroom? I don't know. I mean, if it's not in the bedroom, it's not in the living room, it's not in your bedroom, my bedroom, it's not in the kitchen, it's not on top of the TV, it's not on top of the refrigerator. Maybe it's in the restroom. Who knows? Okay. Then he goes to the restroom, looks around. And then what happens? He looks at the mirror. Suddenly, all noise stops. All the breathing and shouting and screaming, everything stops. Slowly he walks out. He doesn't look at anybody. He walks out and then he comes back. Here is an example where a person who he searches for something that he already has. Real example. This is not a made-up example. It's a real example. In fact, in school long ago, when we were in some grade, I don't know, second grade or something, we had a story. Our teacher told us the story. They called Kuchu. This guy's name is called Kuchu. And the story we studied. And this story happens to be the crux of Vedanta. If I understand this story, I can understand the human predicament also. And so it is possible. Here's an example where the search is based on a wrong assumption. Wrong assumption. It's a search which can never have an end. Can the search ever have an end? It can never have an end. You know why? It is based on a wrong assumption. Unless there is some intervention, external intervention, in this case, anybody who knows the truth, it could be the son, it could be the daughter, it could be the wife or anybody else, or a mirror. What is a mirror? Our Shastram is called the mirror. Vedas are called mirror. Darpanam, which Vedas doesn't do anything. All it does is tells me who I am. It shows the mirror at me. And the minute I understand it, I see a fact, then immediately what happens? Shastram uses the word permanent fulfillment. Shashvatam Sukham. Shashvati Shantihi. These are all words from Upanishad. These are not my words. Upanishad. Ask Premaji. She was there in the class. Last class, this mantra came. Shashvati Sukhi is Shanti. That is Shashvati Shanti. Otherwise, every Shanti is up and down Shanti. Peace. They say Om Shanti, Shanti. Peace. Peace means what? Peace is an experience which will be lost after some time. That's why constantly we have to work for peace. Constant. So I'm going to leave you with this example of Mr. Kuchu searching for glasses. Our search for permanent fulfillment is exactly like Kuchu searching for glasses that he already possesses. But starting with the wrong assumption that he does not possess those glasses, such a search is going to be indefinite. It will never reach conclusion. That is what our Shastram also says. Punarapi jananam, punarapi maranam, punarapi janani jatare shayanam. Means your search you will not end in this life. Therefore, I must be born in another life. And why should I be born again and again? What is this crazy idea? It's not a crazy idea. Hey, you are the embodiment of fulfillment, and the goal of life is what? Now we can give a goal of life. What is the goal of my life? The goal of life is to recognize that I am the embodiment of the fulfillment that I have mistakenly been seeking. That becomes a goal of life now. And so until the goal of that life is fulfilled, I must be there. Therefore, so what? What's wrong in another birth? Because it's going to give me permanent fulfillment. Nothing can beat that. So we have to explore this whole idea, going from experience to knowledge. The Kuchu got what? Kuchu, when he saw the mirror, did he get an experience? Okay, there is an experience of sight and all that, of his seeing the glasses. But what did he know? He started with ignorance of a fact. The fact is that I have glasses, but this fact is not known. When a fact and an important fact is not known, then that ignorance can make me frustrated, anxious, and search forever. And that ignorance got removed by the knowledge that I have glasses. I have my glasses. The glasses are in my possession. The glasses have been in my possession all along. It's not like the glasses just landed. When I went to the restroom, it just landed from the top. No, not like that. It's been there with me all along. It makes me feel like a fool. Knowledge. That knowledge eliminated the ignorance which made him seek, and that seeking immediately stopped. And stopped not because of some experience, because of knowledge. Only knowledge can remove this search. Another experience cannot remove this search. I'm just throwing in very loaded statements here, okay? And so this is what's going to come. And so with that, I want to conclude today's discussion, that we are going to look for this knowledge of what I am, knowledge of the fact that I am already fulfilled, and I need to know what the I is, because now we have to know. A lot of questions will come out of this thesis, out of this newfound goal of life. What do you mean by I am already fulfilled? I am not fulfilled. That's why I signed up for this course. Now you're telling me I'm already fulfilled. What do you mean? Okay, that's something we have to inquire into. What is this I? Okay, fulfillment, at least we have said, okay, from experiential fulfillment, we are going to go towards knowledge-based fulfillment. Ignorance removal fulfillment, etc., which will bring in its wake a lot of other questions like who am I, etc. So I'm going to stop with that now. And then we can do two things. We can now open up for questions based on what I said today. And we can also discuss questions that Premaji sent me, continuing from the previous point where we left off in the previous session. Okay? Premaji, will that work? Or do you, whatever you prefer, I can do.
What do you guys think?
Yeah, if you have any questions, let's open it right now when the topic is fresh in your mind.
I have a question regarding who is seeking? Who is seeking the fulfillment?
Okay, who is seeking the fulfillment? All right, let's go back to the example. Let's go back to the example again. Mr. Kuchu, let's call him Kuchu. Who is seeking the glasses? It's a serious question. It's not a trivial question. Who is seeking the glasses?
I mean, outwardly, we can just say that person who's Kuchu is seeking the glasses. That's an outward,
Correct.
apparent answer.
Correct. There is a
Who is
entity.
also missing something, right?
Yeah.
It's a person who is missing something, who's lacking something, and therefore searching for it.
Fair enough. So a person who has a deeply entrenched notion that I am not fulfilled, I'm somebody that does not have what I want. So deeply entrenched. It's a given. It's a given. Universally given. And so that person is the body's complaining that, hey, there is no glasses. Body is complaining. No, body cannot complain. We're going to discuss this in the next session, okay? Body can't complain. Are my eyesight complaining? Is my eyes telling me that, wait a minute, without glasses I can't see? Go get your glasses. Is my eyes complaining? Are my eyes complaining? Are Kuchu's eyes complaining? Okay.
They may be complaining, but I think there is something else behind the eyes that is complaining, that is really experiencing that there is a shortage of something.
So the eye's job is only to show what's out there. It constantly shows. That's its only job. The eyes are not capable of doing anything else. The eyes cannot hear music. For that, there's another sense organ. So the eyes is only job of the eyes is just, if the eyes are kept open, then it is supposed to show, project an image into the back of the eyes, into the retina, based on how healthy the eyes are. But guess what? The eyes are reporting something, and the mind catches that, and the mind has to make some conclusion based on what the mind is, based on whatever image is coming. The mind is making the assessment. Eyes cannot make the assessment. That is why the doctor, that is why, first of all, if the eyes knew that eyes were short-sighted, the eyes could tell the mind, hey, mind, you idiot. I'm short-sighted, don't you know? Don't you know that you should go to a doctor? Such a dialogue does not exist because the eyes don't know that the eyes are short-sighted. There is some other entity behind the eyes. Let's call it the mind for now. The mind is able to make those judgments, assessments. Okay. So the body is not complaining, the eyes are not complaining about these glasses. And so somebody else is complaining. For now, we'll leave it at this. Somebody else is complaining. Somebody else who has an identity, etc. This is a topic we have not covered yet. And so clearly there is an entity who is seeking fulfillment, and that same guy is now complaining that I don't have glasses. And that same guy seems to know how to find those glasses because it's got to be somewhere in the house. And that same guy is getting frustrated. And the same guy gets happy also when he finds the glasses. So that's an entity. That's an entity which is going to be distinct from the body, senses, and the mind also. I'm just going to leave it at that. We have to inquire into this. This is what I'm going to do in the next session. Okay. So we may have words for it. We have some words in our Shastra. We have words like Chidabhasa. We have words like Ahankara, Ahankar. Hindi mein bolte hain Ahankar. Okay, these are some popular words for it. But I'll introduce some of that in the next session. Okay. But at least I want all of you to be clear that you at least understood what the problem is. And why an experiential search for another experience is not going to be a solution for permanent fulfillment. That much you must be crystal clear about. The corollary of that is, regardless of my experience, I am fulfilled. Even if that experience is a painful experience, like arthritis. That's a corollary. We'll talk about it. Okay. So all this, I'm kind of giving you some answers before so that you know what's going to come. Any other questions? Yeah, Rashtar, go ahead.
As I'm experiencing or hearing the conversation and discourse, in my mind, I'm trying to translate to the words like aham, then man, buddhi, chit, ahankar. Who is seeking is the aham. And then my mind or man drives me, oh, I am not seeing it properly, which is the function of your, either buddhi. And then your thought goes, okay, where was it? Where was it? Where was it? Or where was the last time, etc. So this is how I am translating our conversation today. And I really appreciate. So in my understanding, it is the aham which is not satisfied, or it is the aham which is satisfied. All the other thing, man, buddhi, chit, and ahankar, they are fulfilling, their functions in the making, but the aham is the stable one.
So in Sanskrit, the meaning of the word aham is a Sanskrit word. And the meaning of that word is I. The
Yes.
first person singular I. First person singular I. The whole purpose of our inquiry is to figure out who that I is or what that I is. Some of you may have heard this popular sloka. Mano buddhya hankara chitta ninaham na cha shrotra jihve na cha grana netre na cha vyoma bhumir na tejo na vayu chidananda rupa shivoham shivoham chidananda rupa shivoham shivoham. In that shloka, thanks to Rashtarji's reminder, in that shloka, Shankaracharya talks about what that aham is. What the aham is not, he gives a big list. The entire 5 or 6 shlokas, he is giving a big list of things that what the aham is not. And then also indicates what the aham is. He's saying, Mano buddhi ahankara chittani nah. I am not mind. Mano buddhi, I am not the intellect. Ahankara, this ego, you say, is I get insulted when you say this. Okay, who is that I that's getting insulted? That ego. Okay, ahankara. Manobuddhi ahankara chittani, memory. A guy who remembers all the things from the past 80 years ago, 60 years ago, remembers everything. That guy? No, that's not me. Like this, we have a big list. So maybe next session, this we can dovetail that discussion also. Yeah.
Of course.
Any other questions? All right. So if there are no questions, what we can do is I can bring up the list of questions. We can cover a couple of questions and we can stop whenever you want to stop. So I'm going to ask a question. It's a question coming from you, right? And Premaji has cataloged all this. So look at this. This is relating to dharma, namely righteousness and security. A businessman who is businessman who is very successful, begins to play with his assets. He has more than enough and can afford to play. A statement, first statement, it has shifted his vantage point from building to enjoyment. Number two, or rather, I think that's a question. Has it shifted? Has his vantage point shifted from building to enjoyment? That is a question that's being asked. I think the answer is probably yes. Okay. So previously he was building, and there's so much there that now he can afford to throw money around and experiment with stuff, and he gets a lot of joy from that experimentation. Okay, so that's true. The second question is, does it all also invoke a sense of duty to share with his colleagues and others his wealth, thereby inducing an obligation? Can it also ruin lives? Attention, Akshay. That is a question. Any thoughts on this question? Brief thoughts. Yeah. So, business tycoons, the Jeff Bezos of the world. Recently, I saw a news that Jeff Bezos overtook Microsoft Bill Gates in terms of the net worth. So he went number one in the list, I think, is what I heard. All right, we don't even know how many zeros are there anymore. There's so many zeros in that number. So what do you do with that money? That's the question. And so does it invoke a sense of duty to share with colleagues? Well, if a person with just a few dollars is able to help his colleagues, his friends, uh, whatever comes, surely a person with a lot of wealth also can help others in a much, much, much bigger way, of course. And so there is that. That sense of duty need not change with the amount of wealth the person has. Correct? That sense of duty can continue to be there. And can it also ruin lives? That's what it says here. Yeah, I mean, it can ruin lives. Can ruin lives, right? Because we've seen that. We've seen that. In fact, it's a big cause of ruining lives. When Amazon came, and you know what happened? People started ordering left and right from Amazon. All the mom and pop shops they disappeared within a matter of 6 months. During Corona, they just disappeared. Corona, you couldn't step out. On top of that, people are ordering from Amazon. So people are just getting whatever they want. And guess what? How long can you keep a shop open? People have to come in and go out from these shops. They're all gone. And this Amazon warehouses, wherever a warehouse comes, that city is just wiped out. I've heard stories from Houston and other cities. And many big businesses shut down. What about mom and pop shops? Big businesses like Radio Shack and some names, I don't remember those names, but they all shut down. Shut down. They just can't compete with Amazon. That's it. Anyway, so that's that. And so we know that it can ruin lives. Okay, that question is there. All right. And so therefore, how do you stop this ruin? Whose responsibility is it to stop this ruin? Or is it somebody's responsibility? Well, we can say this. This world belongs to everybody, not to one person or a few people or a few countries, only the developed countries, etc. It belongs to everybody. Everybody has the capacity to think through what's right, what's wrong. So, Jeff Bezos is on the other side. I'm the consumer. as a consumer also, I have to I have to think about what I consume, how I consume, where I buy my products from. So therefore, yeah, it's possible for each of us to influence the outcome. All right. So we discussed that some time ago. All right. Next question. Why do you love somebody? I'm not going to answer this question. I'm going to wait. Why should I answer all the questions? I've been talking for the last 1 hour. I'm going to want one of you to, at least one of you to say something. Why do we love somebody? That is the question.
Could it be that that person makes me feel fulfilled? Make me feel complete?
Correct. I think that's the right answer. Because going back to why we seek things for our own happiness, our own joy, our own fulfillment. Love also falls in the same category. Okay. Wealth can make me feel fulfilled and secure, and relationships can make me feel fulfilled and secure. There are certain things that wealth cannot compensate. I know that, and therefore there is family, etc., that makes me fulfilled. So love has a place. Friends, some people extend their network to say, you know what, I'm not fulfilled until I help the people who are in need.
Mm.
They become a big part of their lives, the needy people. Now, I feel fulfilled if I teach mathematics to somebody. So from the inner school district, I feel fulfilled. So, therefore, love is also in that same category. I think we can say that as a fair statement. All right. Okay. Does a person have the capacity to make you sad or happy? Okay, that's yes. How to separate fulfillment from objects and persons? How to separate fulfillment from objects and persons? I think the question is how to separate fulfillment from objects, from fulfillment from persons, people. I think the answer is what? That's what it is. The fulfillment you get from an object is a fulfillment from an object. And the fulfillment you get from people is fulfillment from people. Anand Sood.
I don't know. It's two different types of fulfillment, but is it actually the ultimate fulfillment that we're looking for? I mean, you get fulfillment from buying things, and you get fulfillment from being close to people, from having friends and things like that. But it's, again, a temporary thing. So, yeah.
Yeah,
don't-
both are temporary.
Yeah.
In a
Good.
way.
Good. So now we've realized or we've recognized that both are temporary.
Yeah.
So from that perspective, trying to distinguish the two is not that important. Already we know that people are more important than things. Things can come and go. You can even buy things, but you can't buy love. You can't buy people. Correct? You can't buy the people that make a big difference in your lives. So that we know already. All right. Next question. Is fulfillment for everyone, or is fulfillment only for qualified people? Hey, you guys are very intelligent, I tell you. I mean, your questions are not, I mean, there's no, who's going to ask such a question?
No, I would only say it is for everyone who's qualified. And
By
you can be
qualified, you mean
qualified.
deserving?
Is this group
No,
in qualified people?
not in the sense deserving.
Mhm.
To be fulfilled, you have to qualify. Qualify yourself with the knowledge, qualify with yourself with the state of mind.
Mhm.
And if you attain those qualities, you start then realizing you are fulfilled. unless you reach that state of mind, you're poor. You are unfulfilled. You're ignorant. You're looking at your glasses.
Looking
Looking
for
for
Or
them.
glasses.
Okay. So, Rashtarji, to summarize what you said, I think you're saying that there is a certain qualification needed for gaining this permanent fulfillment. Is that a one-line answer to your
Yes,
question?
sir. Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, Acharya.
All right. All right. Any other answers?
But I think everybody is deserving of fulfillment. You have to find your path to take you to it.
All right.
And,
Everybody.
you know, you have to do your best, but I guess you don't have to be the most, I don't know, intellectual or the most helpful person in the world.
knowledgeable.
I think you just have to be basically a good person. But everybody is deserving of fulfillment, regardless.
All right. All right. I have some thoughts on that. Yeah. Neelamji, go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say that probably because there are different paths for people to take for their evolution, for their progress. So I would say that some people get fulfillment by being on the bhakti yoga. Some people, as a devotion, as a devotee, they may not be that knowledgeable, intellectual, but they feel something in their heart. Some people may be very fulfilled by being karma yogis, by helping out other people. And some people might be intellectuals. They need to get to the core of any situation. So I would say it depends. Everybody is deserving and everybody is entitled. It just depends upon what path is your path.
Fair enough. So this is an important question, and we will be covering this topic of. We'll be
And
covering this.
sorry, would we be choosing that path consciously, or is it in our
Makeup.
karma, I guess, to follow this path blindly? I mean, do I know whether I'm a karma yogi or a bhakti yoga or however I'm going to find my fulfillment? I think I would just be working towards it in my own little ways and hope to get there.
Right, right. So, suppose I ask you, at least those of you who were in India before you went to Canada, right? How did you end up in Canada?
Okay, doesn't apply to me.
So that's why I prefaced the question. Those of you who were in India before your previous life was in India, how did you end up in Canada? What factors do you attribute
So
to your
what is the
being in
previous life? You mean this life, but at the beginning of the life, not the previous life.
So,
I married a man who was living in Canada already, so I came to Canada.
All right,
In spite of that.
all right. So you did not plan on coming to Canada. It's
No,
not like when you're 10 years old, you decided, no, Canada is the place I want.
no.
Therefore, what do you say? In India, we use a word for that, right? What is that word?
Say it again. I didn't understand.
What word do you use to explain that answer in one word? We say karma. We say karma. Karma. So it was my
I would say destiny.
fair enough. I'd say I don't know the what the word destiny means in the Western thought process. So I that's why I might say, okay, go ahead and use the word destiny. But I use the word karma. I know what karma means thoroughly. And so whether destiny means everything that karma means, I don't know. I can talk about karma for hours, okay? And you might say, oh, no, the word destiny does not mean all. Yes, I'm just giving you an idea to think about. To caution you, when you use English words to represent concepts in Sanskrit and in Indian culture, we may lose out.
Mm-hmm.
May lose out. I'm just cautioning you. Be aware of that. That you willy-nilly we can't use certain words, and we have to protect the meaning of the words. We have to protect the words so the meaning of the words is protected, and the word continues to reveal what it was meant to reveal. So I want to retain karma. For now, yeah, destiny, which means what? Hey, I was destined to go to Canada. It seems I didn't know it until this happened.
I would say that is more true because I was quite young, 20 years old, didn't have any ambition to come to Canada, but it just happened. So maybe it was my previous karma from my previous birth, but in this lifetime, I did not have the desire at the time.
Correct. So therefore, here's an example where something happened in my life which I never worked towards, which was where my free will had no role to play at all. But there are so many other examples where we can give, where our free will has played a very important role. I did a PhD. Why did you do a PhD? No, I did this. I really wanted to pursue this area of biosciences, and it was really gripping me. I decided to do a PhD. I decided to do a PhD. Free will. Was karma involved there? Sure, why not? We bring in karma away because there are so many factors in every pursuit, hundreds of factors. So, all the factors that I know of, I say free will. All the factors that I don't know of, which help me pursue, which help me towards that direction, I attribute it to karma.
Mhm.
So, fair enough. So, we got two good examples here. One is 100% karma, another is free, more and more tending towards free will.
Circumstances.
Sorry?
Circumstances.
Circumstances. Okay. Yeah. So the question, Anand Sood's question was, is it destiny that's going to make me choose bhakti yoga versus karma yoga versus jnana yoga versus any other types of yoga? We'll postpone that question for another time because first we need to talk about this idea. So talking about bhakti yoga, I can't assume that you know what it is. I need to confirm that we are talking the same language. You see how important this is. I can't say things. We have to understand things exactly as things have to be understood. So, well, the question is appreciated. Hey, what is the role of destiny, karma, in what I do about my search for permanent fulfillment? So let's understand permanent fulfillment first, and then we'll answer that question also. All right. So, Premaji, it's been 1.5 hours, okay, since we started. It's 10:30 for you, it's 10:30, I think, in the night.
It is.
Yes.
Yes.
I'm ready to stop unless there are comments.
Yes, Guruji, it's better to stop. We got a lot of information tonight to think and mull over. And we have enough time to prepare for your next class also. I would ask everyone, are you ready to stop for tonight? Or would you like to go on?
Yeah, Rashtarji, I thought had a comment. He was about to start speaking.
Yes, it is my understanding of karma is much more to do with what I or the aham does. So as a result of that karma, there is a consequence that I face. Whereas what comes to me because of my previous life, because of my ancestors, that is like, like gifted to me, for which I owe, not as a direct result of karma. So it was in that sense, perhaps on a very different time, we will address that. We don't need to address it today. I'm just sharing with you the karma comes to me is the karma I am doing in the present life. It is my karma. and then karma will have a consequence. Like
Correct.
this.
Sure.
You
So
know,
we'll talk-
prarabdha and karma.
Right. Right.
Okay.
Yeah, point well taken. We'll definitely have an opportunity to cover that.
Thank you.
Pradeep, how are things? Is this new to you? It's not new. It's moderately new.
Uh, it's kind of moderately new. I mean, I've touched on these topics on various things I've been following and learning. Yeah, so I think we discussed a lot of things. I still need to there's a lot of various topics in one session today, I think.
Sure, sure. So maybe what Premaji can do is kind of list some of the key learnings from this session. We can add to it whatever, and at least so that we don't lose track of that, and each of you can contribute. So you can feed that information to Premaji. This is something I learned today. This is something I learned. That way we can keep track of that and remind ourselves of that as we go forward. Okay. Sure. All right. ॐ पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते ॐ शान्तिः 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 हरिः ॐ श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः हरिः ॐ. Thank you all very much.
Thank
We
you.
do have a request, Acharya ji. The two
Yeah,
shlokas,
Bolliye.
the one right now and the one